Alright.
Okay.
So, am I ready?
Yep, just count us down.
Right. We can start in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is reject training mode and just go straight into the first level. Right away you're going to see the fastest form of movement is looping on these lines. And all my movement is completely controlled by these lines that I'm drawing, so yeah. Enemies refill ink, so I'm going to try and get a bunch of refills in this level just because there's so many of them, and it's kind of costly to stay close to the ground, at least on this level. That screen actually went pretty well. Right now I'm going to grab the first copy ability, which is a wheel. It lets me go through this level really fast without really having to use ink. And now, after every level, I'm going to do a soft reset because it saves about 10 seconds, rather than just doing the minigame that comes after. That was Plant Plane. This is a tiny town. It's basically just a bunch of tiny little rooms, and it's about just optimizing the movement between all the little rooms, because every room is ended with one of these little tubes. Here's the first checkpoint, I think, and they're annoying and they want to be avoided as much as possible just because they waste time. There's like a little cutscene that plays every time you grab one of them, and you really shouldn't be dying, so there's no need for them at all. I'll be grabbing some of them for safety just because I am at risk of dying in a lot of places, but in general I'm just going to try and avoid them when I can. Here, to get through this room, I have to like sit on these star blocks and make them disappear. That actually went really fast. And this is the first mini-boss. I have to take these enemies out in a specific pattern so that they'll spawn in an order that I want. That was it right? And then this screen is just a bunch of like little tiny rooms. There's like a ton of them. So I just have to do like the same pattern that I've memorized over and over just to get between each tube really fast. And that's the end of the level. Do another quick reset. Here's Ravine Road. This level is like really wide open and horizontal, and I'm gonna want to like stay to the ground as much as possible so that I don't just like waste ink being up in the air so much, because you refill really fast on the ground, as well as where all the enemies are, which is closer to the ground. Oh, I did not mean to get that. I'm gonna skip this little checkpoint or button, and now I'm gonna grab another wheel, and it'll just let me zoom across this entire level with doing like very minimal input. And that was the level. Okay, here's the first boss game. I'm gonna get Krako Jr. out of the way first because it's the hardest. This minigame that I have to play before I fight the boss is like really hard to make fast, so just hope it goes well. The fight is actually the hardest part, but this thing before it isn't exactly easy. Just kind of have to do the same thing every time and hope you move in the same way, even though it's like really hard to make the inputs the same every time. Okay. Basically I have to just kill all the enemies before it'll let me progress to the next screen. Okay. Pretty good. I'm just gonna like spam paddles to get up really fast. That was a pretty good screen actually. The fight here is really hard because it's very random, and I basically want Cracker Jr. to get close to the floor so I can just bounce between the floor and a paddle and just hope that I sneak in between one of these things. Like, this is going pretty okay, it could go faster. There we go. Alright, that was not bad at all. And I got good RNG. It's funny enough, I didn't know this until very recently, but in the little movie that you can see playing, the old-timey movie, if one of the Kirby trips, you actually lose time because they don't start the dance until they're all in the middle. Found that out like a week ago, and kind of annoying because it's completely random and there's nothing you can do about it. Alright, now I'm going to get Burning, which is my favorite ability in the game because it's really fun to control and you go really fast. You go as fast as you do with the wheel, but you have like a lot more control over yourself. Because you can manipulate yourself with lines like this. I'm going to try and keep this power up as long as possible, even though it might make this section right here look kind of slow. It'll be worth it. Yeah, that was good. That was perfectly fine, because now I can just do this. Yeah, that was definitely worth keeping. You can definitely make it not worth keeping, but that was definitely worth it. Oh, I lost it, but there's one on the next screen. Let's grab another one because this is like the fastest way to move horizontally, so you're going to want it as much as possible in this level. I probably should have ditched it, but it's fine. Do a little ink refill real quick. And this is actually like kind of a hard thing to go down, just because you have to do a lot of inputs. That went pretty good. Still resetting after every level. This level, it's actually pretty difficult. I need to move on this screen in a very specific way to have enough ink to travel quickly between all these platforms so that I can, you know, just keep refilling and looping. And that's perfect. This screen is really, really hard because vertical movement in general in this game is just like some of the hardest movement. And this screen is just like completely vertical and it's really long. There's all these like stupid clouds and stuff and enemies that just get in your way. Tap all of them. Very input heavy. Alright, I'm gonna grab Spark here for this mini boss that I'm about to do. Because it makes just taking out these balloons really fast. Here's the first instance of like a no ink zone. I don't really know what to call it, but basically you just can't draw in it. And that's really bad because to go fast you need to draw. Here I need to avoid this enemy because it's really slow to get power-ups in general. And it's the end of the level. Alright, you're gonna see me use Burning again, and this might actually be the last time in the run I get it at all. Pretty sure it is. Very short-lived. Just in these 2 levels apart are the only times you'll ever see it, really. There are other times you can get it, but it's like really far out of the way and not worth it. And even in the other like magma-themed level, you can't even get it. I don't think there's a single burning enemy on the entire level, which will come near the end. Oh, that's bad. Need to get off this platform and down here. Okay, that's fine. I just really needed to skip that platform because once it starts going down, That is not good. Once it starts going down, then you basically can't get past it anymore, and it moves really, really slowly. There's a checkpoint right here, so I'm not at any risk. Burning is just very important, as you can see here, because you're going up like this long vertical tower, but you're just like zigzagging back and forth, so you really need it for the horizontal part. I just got a checkpoint, that was fine. It's really hard to make that fireball pattern anyway. I'm gonna ditch it and then just go straight up like this. Alright, that's fine. And now I'm gonna choose to do the same boss game, because this one is like just as hard, but a little different than the first one, because it's, I guess, like a more advanced version of the game. The two other minigames are a lot easier by comparison, so I just get these out of the way because they're harder, and it doesn't matter at all the order you do them, except for like consistency of timing. If I want my splits to always be the same, I just always do the same boss order. It's kind of good that I got, or that I died in that level anyway, because I would have had to find health somewhere, or else I would have gone into this boss fight actually with 1 HP, so that actually wasn't too bad that I died there. Here I have to take out this enemy, which is really annoying, and I got it pretty quickly. Really hard to control this movement if you can't tell. I'm trying to do like very specific things to get near the enemies or approach them at specific angles, and that makes things easier in general. So this is different than Krakow Jr. because there's like a cloud protecting the eye, but I got good luck there kind of because it's up against a wall, and now it's going to be a lot easier to just hit the eye and get it. Okay. That was pretty good. Alright, Rift Ruin. The first thing I'm going to have to do in this level is try and make a very tight gate cycle, and that's not good. I'm probably already going to miss it, but if I'm fast enough I can still potentially make it. No. Doesn't waste that much time, but it's always nice making that, because it means you're in good pace. I'm going to damage boost through here real quick, because they're really slow to go around. And I'm not at very large risk right now of dying. Here I kind of know exactly where I'm going, so just have to navigate this room blind, where normally you'd have to go like light a torch to see where you're going. Alright, this room is kind of annoying because it's just, it wants you to like float down really super slowly. Like even the game's physics make it so that you fall a lot slower in this level than in other levels. But I don't want to fall down slowly, I want to just get down as quickly as I can, so I do a couple loops. Here I just sort of do this zigzag pattern to get up here quickly, avoid all those fans. I'm going to try and refill on some ink here so that I can get past these fire guys. And I didn't want that, but it's fine. Oh, I also didn't mention that there are like 3 medals per level, but I don't ever want to get any of them because they have no use in any percent, and they have an animation associated with them when you collect them, so you really just don't want to touch any of them. Here's another level that has like burning, but I'm not gonna grab it because it was above just where I was right there, and that was pretty far out of the way when I can just, you know, do a bunch of loops here. Here it's best just to like damage boost through these. That was actually like the best I've ever done that screen. That was really fast. And here, this might be the first instance of underwater movement. In general, it's just really annoying because you move really slowly. You can move downward really quickly though, just by tapping. So usually it's best just to like sort of put two lines around you and then just tap your way down. Kind of like I did there at the end. Here I need to kill all these things in a specific order so that they'll spawn. The last two enemies that spawn are at the lower two right corners, or the lower two corners, and they're usually pretty annoying to get, but that went pretty fast. Here I have to take out all these blocks, and the screen actually goes really fast with this power up, so it's definitely worth it. So I don't have to do like any input on this. Okay, got down there. And that's the end of the level. That's pretty good. Alright, this is a really hard level, in my opinion. It's really long and got a lot of water movement and stuff, so it's really difficult to make fast. When you're underwater, you're in misery, because it's just really hard to control. That actually went very well. Made a really good gate cycle right here. Here I'm gonna just conserve my ink because I just want to sort of just float above this level and not go down. And I made a good cannon cycle, so I was able to stop there and refill my ink and also get a little launch out of it. And when you're on hills, it's fast to just tap, so I take that as an opportunity to refill ink so that I can loop in between the hills. And here I'm gonna loop as much as I can and then try and refill so I can loop more and just make it easily through those saw blades. That was pretty good. And there's a very specific way I'm supposed to go through this room. That makes it... doesn't make it... I'm pretty sure it is the fastest way to go through the room, but it also makes it really easy because you can tap rather than loop. And looping is just really finicky underwater. So whenever I do it, it's like, it's a trade-off because there's a lot of risk involved in it, but if you do it right, it's definitely worth it. I'm gonna go through this. Here, I'm gonna grab stone. It's not required or like necessary by any means, but it. I lost it. Okay. Well, it makes this screen a lot easier. It'll be fine without it though. I was gonna ditch it like at this point anyways, so I just have to get these. Okay, I got these buttons quickly, so that was fine. I really didn't want to lose it though. This is actually the first time I think I've ever lost that power there. I've never... don't even know how that happened. I just didn't kill all the enemies somehow. Normally it's just like really hard to not kill all the enemies. I'm at 2 HP, which I kind of don't like for this next boss fight, but should be fine because there's plenty of health refills. Go straight to the exit here. Alright. I choose to do cart run just because I like it less. I'd much rather do paint panic at the end. Here I'm basically just trying to get as many max speeds as possible on these foods by collecting 2 at the same time. And I got some health, so that's good. Really fast paced though, and these spawns aren't really random, but at the same time it's hard to know like exactly where they're going to be relative to your speed. Oh, I just missed all that health, that's unfortunate. Still have 2 though, that's fine. Basically, it's really hard to lose this race, you just don't want to die. The easiest way to lose this race is just to die. Like, if you do everything else okay, then you'll beat DDD by a mile, so it's actually a really easy game. You might want to consider actually like doing this last instead of Paint Panic, just for like TB attempts and stuff. It's easier. Oh, and a Kirby tripped, so I lost some time there. It's usually something I never pay attention to, but now, ever since I found out that it loses time, I've just been, you know, like, watching it like a hawk. I'm gonna try and just go through these battles quickly, refill a little ink there. And because I'm on a hill, I can just tap up this, makes it a lot easier. And I'll easily make this cycle. That's good. That was a really good screen. Okay. Here's a section that I can't speed up. It's just going between a bunch of cannons. Okay, good. It's really hard to go through this level. I did not want that. It's also really hard to avoid that guy, so it's whatever. And just for consistency's sake, I'm going to take this cannon, even though it's a little faster to go straight to the exit. Here's an auto-scroller, so there's nothing I can do to speed it up except... there are things that can slow it down, but there aren't any things that can speed it up. So as long as I just avoid the things that slow me down, I'll do this perfectly. Oh, that's one of the things that slows me down, and I don't want to go that way. Well, actually, I kind of want to get this checkpoint just in case, because it's a really major time loss if I accidentally die. I will take that, like, 40 frame time loss for some safety. I even take that safety in runs because, you know, like, sometimes I'm stupid. Alright, that was perfect. That was a good level. Like, mostly I'm talking about the parts before the auto-scroller, but yeah. Okay, this level is very difficult, so just hope I can do this first screen relatively quickly because there's potential to lose a lot of time if I don't do this. Very, the movement is like very precise, just so that you don't lose a bunch of time. And also refills are like really sparse because it's a bunch of these vertical columns where you don't touch the ground very much. So I could have avoided that, but it's fine. Oh, that was really good actually. I didn't want needle, but it makes this section kind of fast. Damage boost there. I want to go through this fan too. Whatever. That was alright. Get a health pickup just because there's potential to die everywhere. I think I've died on every screen of this level just because like random crap always happens. Oh. My mistake. Alright, not bad. This level is really annoying to me. Got a really good track, but oops. I don't want to refill on this. Got a good track, but it has this like it has two really hard screens followed by an auto scroller, so it's kind of just like a bit of a turn off. Here I'm gonna skip this platform and just go straight through here. Just go up, just skip this platform completely. That went pretty good. Alright, and here's this like really roundabout room where you just keep going through the same places over and over again that you've already been, just doing various things, like unlocking new areas, and it's pretty movement intense, so yeah. Oh god. How'd that happen? I actually don't know when I'm gonna get health, but that shouldn't be a problem. Taking a lot more damage today than I normally do, but it hasn't really been a problem yet. It'll definitely be a problem later if I continue this habit. The later levels will punish you really hard if you don't keep a high enough health. I missed that cannon, that's stupid. Normally you can get that on the way down. I got a checkpoint though, so all good. Grab this real quick. Alright, and here's the auto-scroller, which really bad that I'm going in this part with 1 HP, because there's a ton of enemies and they just like have really random patterns that can screw me over, so let's hope that I don't mess this up. Okay, didn't mess it up. Perfect. And I'm gonna get a health refill right here anyways for the next boss game. So yeah, no more risk. I almost fell off. Alright, get rid of cart run again just because I don't like it. It's boring. I'd much rather get to Paint Panic, which I'm pretty sure everyone likes best anyway. Actually, I don't know what people like from a spectator's point of view. But I would imagine this is pretty boring and Krako's pretty good and Paint Panic is better. That's how I feel anyway. trying to dodge these because they slow you down a lot. They're not exactly homing, but they know, given your speed, where you're going to be by the time that it would get to you. Like I said, I'm not at risk at all of losing this race unless I die, and I'm at very low risk of dying right now at full health, so yeah. Basically an auto-scroller with like 10 to 15 seconds of variance based on how good you are at picking up food. Or like dodging enemies, which I'm clearly very bad at. Easy. Oh, no Kirby trip. That was good. Good RNG, wow. Okay, we're past the boring part of the run in my opinion and entering some of the cooler levels. This is cold course. It's cold. And a course. I do not want to go in there. That would waste a lot of time. First screen is fairly straightforward. It's just a lot of movement stuff. And there's like a lot of things that can just hurt you, which have already hurt me a lot. But if I go down this specific way, then I'm at no risk of dying. I'm at risk of dying on the third screen mostly, so we'll see how that goes. I could have died right there actually, but got lucky. And here, for whatever reason, this level has wheel, and it makes this part plus the beginning of this screen pretty fast. But I'm gonna ditch it pretty soon. I didn't know I could actually do that. Maybe I should start keeping this longer because that was pretty fast. Thing is, you can't do like sharp angles like that. It's the main problem. I'm probably gonna ditch it right here though. Alright, I really don't want to die on this part, so I'm gonna take it kind of slow. Just because I haven't had a checkpoint in a long time. Alright. But now I can be riskier. A lot of... I tapped like a frame late there, but whatever. That was very inconsequential of a death. Yeah, and there would have been health right there too anyway, so that was kind of stupid, but whatever. Here I'm going to do an inverted... oh, messed it up. Inverted loop so that I dodge all those icicles. Yeah, that was risky and I did risk it, so I mean, get what I deserve. Alright, this is probably the hardest level in the game. Definitely the biggest run killer. There'll be another run killer later, but it won't matter as much. There's a lot of runs to this level. You'll see why on the next screen. I'll grab help just in case. I've already taken too much damage. Alright. This part is just me like spamming taps, which kind of sounds annoying, but it's the fastest way to go down to hit all these switches quickly. And get to this exit. Alright, here's another wheel that I'm gonna grab. And I need to do some very specific movement, and I'm going to want to keep this until basically the end of the level, which is going to be very difficult, and I'm like, there's a 90% chance that I'm going to lose it a lot earlier than that, so we'll just see how it goes. Dodge the first part. Oh, and I'm set up perfectly for this mini boss. If you land in the middle of the platform, you're in really good shape. It's really good luck. This guy's in a bad spot though. I don't know what to do about him. Oh, I got him. That was nice. I'll make it. Oh, yes. Okay, and I kept wheel past the mini boss, which is definitely the hard part, but I still have risk of losing it. It's been a long time since I've gotten this far with wheel. But as you can see, this is like really fast right now. Especially in these horizontal parts. Yeah, this is really awesome. Wow. Alright, cool. This is... I kind of want to ditch it here, but I want to see if I can keep it a little later, and you'll see why. There's another horizontal section coming up. Just don't take damage here. Okay. Down. Alright, cool. That was exactly how long I wanted to keep it. Just in time for this vertical section. That was actually the longest I've ever kept it too, so amazing. Alright, so that didn't kill the run. That's good. This is... I said the last level was really hard. This level is also very, very, very difficult, so we'll just hope it... Okay, it's already going bad. No, that was an overstatement, but every single screen has just, like, has nightmare potential, so I'm just going to be sort of careful about the way I do my movement. I don't really have risk of dying except on the last screen. The main risk is just wasting a ton of time in random situations. There are like a ton of chances to grab power-ups and stuff that you don't want, and just like get caught in the breeze in a way you don't want, and just out of ink and stuff. Like this has gone fairly well actually. I guess kind of unavoidable, so I don't care. But yeah, like stuff like this, where I'm just getting like trapped. Yeah, this is exactly what I don't want it to happen, it's really annoying. Alright, but that ending was okay. Here I'm at full health, so I'm in really good shape because there's I'm most likely gonna have to do a damage boost. Yeah. Alright, yeah, so I only had to take 1 damage there. That's fine. It's usually pretty risky coming into this screen with anything less than full health because you can just get caught in the wind in the wrong way and then it'll just take all your health before you can even get past them. Here there's like a bunch of enemies that I'm trying to avoid, which I did a good job of. Yeah, that's perfect. Here I'm gonna refill some ink so I can get up vertical section quickly. Alright, cool. And the 5th of 6 boss games, this is the first Ain't Panic. Basically I just have to draw these shapes and they're always the same, so I kind of know what to expect. But it doesn't exactly make it easy, especially on a tiny screen.
Mind if I give everyone a reminder?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. Well, just want to remind everyone that this is the PreNASA Marathon. We're raising money for our 2017 event to rent hotel space at the Toronto Airport West Hotel. All donations are greatly appreciated, and we'll enter you into a chance to win prizes. Like if you enter $40 throughout the marathon, you'll be entered to win either an Aver Colossus HD, which you can get from anywhere, or you can get a PVM monitor or a Commodore's 64 monitor. So check it out, guys.
Alright, so that boss went pretty well. Now we're on to some of the really hard levels. This level has some potential for disaster. And just death traps everywhere. You're gonna see me take a lot of damage in this level, guaranteed. I'm gonna be on a bad.
Just want to give a shout out to Poor Cat. Thanks.
I haven't taken very much damage yet, so that's pretty good. Yeah, and I went through that without damage, so that was good. Okay. Here I can do this without the lights on, but just to show you guys what I'm going through. I hit the little torches. All I have to do is tap them. And here, you want to tap these blocks as little as possible because they have a little cutscene associated with them that's really slow. So that was basically exactly how it should have been done. I'm going to do a damage boost, even though I'm already on low health, but there's going to be health coming up right ahead, so that's not risky at all. They give you like a lot of checkpoints in this screen because, like I said, there's death traps everywhere. Especially this part is gonna go really poorly most likely, just because it's really hard not to take damage. But I'm doing a pretty good job. That was actually pretty good. I'm glad I came onto the screen with 2 health because that gate is always really finicky and pull you. You basically just want to guarantee that you won't die by having at least 2 health. Here I just have to go through this. Because it's a no ink zone, then I can't really do anything crazy. I just have to follow the cannon pattern that they want. And here I'm going to try and go through this entire vertical shaft without riding the platform, because it's really slow. But it's going to be... that went pretty well, actually. That was really good. Alright, if there's a level I'm going to die on, it's going to be this level. I know I've already died, but there's like a very good chance I'm going to die on this too, just because of how difficult it is. And there's like lava everywhere, and you can just fall off the screen and die, and yeah, it's bad. Or you can get crushed later. Like there, I almost just died if I hadn't quickly put a line down. Basically, they add difficulty to this game one of two ways. By like making the level consist of a bunch of really vertical sections, because vertical movement is much more difficult than horizontal. Or they just put like instant death traps in certain places, like a place where you could fall off the screen, or a place where you're guaranteed to take a certain amount of damage unless you do it in a very specific way. Yeah, this is one of those levels. I'm gonna try and make a very specific fire bar cycle, and it looks like I'm making it. Have to be a little quick here, and I made it. All right. I made it through that screen in such a way that I didn't have to wait for a fire gate. And I'm just going to loop across this to dodge all the little things that come up. And here's another mini boss coming up in just a second. This mini boss though is like really dumb because basically an auto-scroller, you have to just trigger these enemies to fall to their death, and they're really slow and they take a while. I'm just gonna do this in a very specific way. That's pretty good. This screen, you have there's a good chance that you're just gonna get crushed by the lava if you don't, stop. Right there, I'm gonna wait, and then it'll let me get through this next part pretty quickly. Good thing there's health there because normally I don't take that much damage. It's also really bad to be out of ink on this part where I have to like block this fire. It's okay. That was not too bad. Alright, and then this is one of the longest levels in the game, and it's a water level, so I still really like excuse me, I still really like this level though. I have a bit of a cough, so excuse me if my voice goes out. I like this level mainly just because of the music, but certain parts of this level are actually just really fun to do. It's a really fun level in general. Right, here I'm going to ditch stone because instead of going down, I have to go up this next part. And this is basically just how fast can you tap to get through this section. Right, that one's okay. Oh, and I got a good cycle, so I can just pass right through here. And on to the next screen. This screen is the hardest part of the level. This screen also, or this level also has an auto-scroller on the next screen, so if I just get past this, then it should be done pretty easily. But here you have to go through this like long underwater maze that's really just mechanically difficult. Because you're underwater basically the entire time. Except for like right here. And I don't need that power up, but it kind of helps just for this part. I'm gonna ditch it immediately after. That was very short-lived, but it kind of helped. Oh yeah, also this part isn't underwater, but every time you're not underwater it lasts just a couple seconds, so... I'm gonna go the intended way. And it's kind of slow. I don't want to take too much damage here, because there is risk of dying. There's not risk of, like, dying on the auto-scroller very much, unless you just take damage, so I kind of just want to go in full health for safety. Like, I'm not at any risk of getting crushed or anything, because I know where I need to be at what times, pretty much, and it's not difficult to get where you need to be, so... Yep. This checkpoint's unavoidable. I would grab it anyway, but just because deaths are so costly in this auto-scroller. And yes, I have died in this auto-scroller. But maybe only like once. If I had to guess. It's gonna speed up a little bit here and I have to tap these blocks. Sometimes loops just like don't work. I could actually avoid that checkpoint, but for marathon safety I'm not going to. It only saves like 40 frames. I'm just gonna play some underwater Flappy Bird. Alright, there we go. Easy. Here's the second Paint Panic. A little harder, but not really. Why I saved it for last, because it's pretty simple, and I like it a lot better than the other minigames. Those small ones at the end I sort of like pick up my stylus, so I make sure that I'm drawing it right. The main difference between the first and the second one is just it's a lot longer. Not necessarily more difficult. The touchscreen also isn't very good, so if I miss these, it's not because I wasn't trying, it was because I didn't register my input where I wanted it. That was kind of scary, but it's whatever. Let's see if I got good or bad RNG. Oh, one tripped. Bad. Okay, here comes the last 3 levels of the game. They're also the longest, oddly enough. Mostly just because of auto-scrollers, which is annoying, but this level is actually pretty difficult, and there are some things I'm going to have to do that if I do them incorrectly will waste a lot of time, so here's hoping that they go well. I didn't need to keep ice there. That was fine. Actually, kind of better that I don't have it because a lot less prone for error. There's a health pickup coming up, so I'm not at any risk right now. Alright, here's the auto-scroller. It's not like the same as other auto-scrollers in the fact that the camera isn't locked, but because it's just this really super huge no-ink zone, then you have no chance of surviving anywhere except on this slow-moving platform. The task can actually skip this, but RTA, there's definitely no way. Here I'm gonna damage boost across. Just health right here. And coming up on like a really difficult trick, so I hope it goes well. If I can make it, oh, annoying. Doesn't really waste time though, because I have to wait for this platform anyway. Ah, okay, I kind of messed it up. I didn't mess it up in like a really bad way, but at the same time, could have gone better. You can actually skip one of these platforms if you do a precise jump, which I was a little late. I landed early. Landing on that platform though is a lot better than falling down, because then you have to go all the way back to the start. When I said earlier that there's other run killers, that is the trick, that is another run killer. Oh. That's unfortunate. It's always risky coming onto the screen at 1 HP. It's not too big of a time loss. Grab that checkpoint just for safety. Normally you can skip it. Basically this level is just like this long puzzle where you have to hit these switches in a specific way. And they sort of like guide you through the level until you finally hit the last switch that unlocks both colors, and then you can get to the exit. Even though it kind of teases you a little bit with it. Glad to be done. There's 2 more levels and then final boss. And that's it. Here's another auto-scroller. I wasn't joking when I said all these levels have auto-scrollers. This is a point in a run where you're like, it's really nerve-wracking because this is the longest split and it also has 3 of the hardest levels. So, you know, a lot of good runs have died at this point. That was close. I thought I was later in the level when I didn't have to pay as much attention to the floor, but I got in there just in time. Like at this point, you have very little risk of getting crushed. And that's the end of the auto-scroller. This screen's really annoying because it just has a humongous no ink field on it, and you have to just make your way down without any ink really slowly. Just go down in a very specific way and you shouldn't lose any time. Here's a really, really hard mini-boss, so hope it goes alright. I have to like drag these bombs, and they have to go to a very specific spot, and I'm at a lot of risk of just like getting hit by them, so it's really hard. Let's hope that one takes that out. Oh yeah, and also these spawn that don't move with you, they just blow up in your face. Alright, that was fine. Like that. Like I said, it's where good runs go to die. Like some runs have died to that mini boss just from like actually dying or just by doing it really, really slowly because bad patterns. It also kind of depends on like how you enter the screen, just how well you're gonna do. This screen is actually fairly easy though, so there's a little randomness. I'm not going to know where this end portal is going to spawn, and it's going to spawn in all these random places over and over, and I'm just going to have to hope I catch it at the right time. Yeah, that gave me a really bad pattern. Alright, but last level of the run, so here we go. Here, I'm not gonna get balloon. I'm also gonna try to not loop. But I really want to conserve ink. I also do not want balloon. It's really hard to move with balloon. Gonna refill real quick. Not really at risk right here. If I take one more damage, I'll be kind of nervous, but I seem to be okay. Yeah, that's fine. As long as I make it through there. And they'll be... oh. That's unfortunate. But deaths are not very costly in this game, so no need to worry about that. Dodge that guy this time. Forgot he was there, honestly. Normally I would have refilled on health right there, but I actually don't need it, so... Man, all these guys are getting in my way today. Alright, and here's the last auto-scroller. Literally all 3 levels in this world have a auto-scroller, so just kind of have to deal with that. This is one of the hardest auto-scrollers though, because it moves pretty fast. And there are just spikes everywhere and you can get crushed, and meteors. I haven't messed this up in a long time though, so I'm not super worried. You just know where to go, it's fairly easy not to get caught by the wall or something. Yeah, I just made it through the hardest part. Now I'm out in the open, so I'm at no risk of getting crashed. I just have to avoid all these spikes, not take damage. Easy. Alright, and that's the last level. Now on to the final boss. But first I have to do this little stage before it. It only has 2 screens though. Alright, that went pretty good. Alright, final boss. This is GloriousLiar. And it kind of sucks that I'm on 2 HP, but I'm not at huge risk as long as I'm careful. Got good RNG. Alright, that was a really good start. Normally you want to get at least 2 looped hits per phase in order to make it a 4 cycle, but I've gotten 6. So I'm in really good standing. And this pattern is completely random, but he only has so many attacks and I know how to respond to them. Alright, I'm in really good shape. This is... If I don't do anything like catastrophically wrong or die or something, then I will definitely 4 cycle. Got bad luck though. But you can either do 3 or 5 spikes there, and I got a 5 spike pattern, which is a little slow. Alright, and she's giving me bombs, which I can take out really quickly just by tapping. You can give me any pattern though. That was actually a very fast one. Alright, there's GloriousLiar, but one more boss to go. GloriousLiar Soul, and time will be when I kill GloriousLiar Soul. It'll be in about 2.5 minutes. This is a lot more random than the first fight, because whereas you can only lose like 20 seconds on the GloriousLiar fight with a 4 cycle, you can lose up to a minute on this fight just by getting a bad pattern. And I wasn't fast enough to tap that. Pretty good RNG though. Oh yeah, this is really good RNG. It'll all come down to phase 4 though. Phase 4 is where you lose all your time, as long as you get a relatively quick phase 1 to 3. Oh yeah, this is really good RNG so far. As long as I don't get like terrible patterns for this phase 4, this will be very, very good. So far I've gotten 2 quick ones. Wow, yeah, this is a really good pattern so far. I'm getting all the quickest patterns. Oh, never mind. I got... Normally that could be another meteor, but I got an extra rain, which wastes a lot of time, actually. That should be the last pattern. This time should be coming up in 1 second on this last hit. And time. Oh god, that was still a 111. That was so terrible. To be honest, but... I mean, nothing like super catastrophic happened, so... Alright, pretty good. Well, underestimate. That's Kirby Canvas Curse.
Okay then.